even have a script
Yeah,
those days.
Yeah.
They just narrated the subject to us, and then on the set they would write the dialogues and give.
Because it's complex,
Yeah.
it just sits well with me. That in your lonely time, the only thing that you are missing is those faces and being matter to you so much.
I remember when I worked and came back home, and when everybody was asleep, I felt, this is not what I want. I mean, I was absolutely sure that beyond a career there is life.
Hi guys, this is Himesh and welcome to Pinkvilla. Today is special as we have with us Sharmila Tagore ma'am, Manoj Bajpayee sir and director Rahul, who are all gearing up for the release of Gulmohar. Welcome to Pinkvilla guys, it's lovely having you here. Ma'am, it's so good to see you after so long. So thank you for this interaction and doing this film firstly. Ma'am, first question to you is, what was that aspect in Gulmohar that got you back to films?
I think it was the script, and it was Rahul, and there was instant clicked, Rahul came, and his personality, the way he read the script, everything, and the character that he offered me spoke to me. Kusum, I felt I knew her, I can do this, and it is very age appropriate. It is, what I am. So I felt that I really want to do this role. I want to be Kusum.
Was it an instant yes from your end, or you took some time because...
I think it was yes, instant. And then of course, I had certain things to clear up with him, which I did. How we can do this particular scene which wasn't gelling with me. Can we do it this way? Can we do it that way? But I loved Kusum. I can't say I loved Kusum. I could see the downside of Kusum also. But it was, and sometimes it's very difficult to play yourself, So there were all those things, but those were my problems. But I first wanted to say yes, and then deal with those issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the improvisation after that happened in the reading sessions and
later.
But she had very good ideas, I must say. There's this one sequence in the film which was a long monologue that she had to say, and she really inspired me and my DOP in one of our discussions to think further on the screen. How can we enhance the scene? And that inspired us to rewrite that scene and add some more visual. That was really her idea. And same with him as well. Like we sat on initially the film had a little more English, but I sat with him and I was like, how can we make it more authentic to Delhi? And he's a very quiet observer and a quiet contributor, I would say. Very quietly, he'll sit there and he'll contribute, and you'll go back to your hotel room and then be like, "Acha, Manoj ne ye suggestion bahut acha diya."
Even I felt, sorry to interrupt, that although I speak in English and I'm, more comfortable with English, but on the screen, I'm more comfortable with Hindi. Because yes, I think I can express certain emotions much better. And too much English, I feel, it takes away from that.
Right.
Also, I think it's the beauty of the language.
Yes.
It's the beauty of the
Hindi language.
It happens
exactly.
subconsciously maybe.
And also, I don't know, on the screen, Hindi is my preferred language.
But Manoj, so when we were speaking about the genre, basically how this is a complex family drama, if you have to say, how do you view this genre as an actor?
Because it's complex, it just sits well with me. Like to get into the minds of the characters and really explore the complexity. This is where I enjoy the most. If you give me something which has just one or two color to it, I find it boring. So the Arun Batra, the character that I'm playing, has too many things to deal with, but he has also too many things inside him that he's dealing with before he deals with his family. So there are so it's internally and externally he's sorting out too many issues which has to do with him. So that makes the character much more not only layered but much more fascinating for me. And because it gives ample scope to explore, to experiment, to find new ways to define it and to express it. So it was that way. It was a beautiful experience for me.
But so like you just spoke about how complex characters attract you. And if you go through your filmography, you have the most complex characters, and you can't deny that. What is it that attracts you towards these films? And it is very easy to go wrong also in choosing them, but you have chosen the right characters also when it comes to this space. So what is that formula of choosing this character in the right zone?
I always believe in one thing, what Sharmila ji said, that character has spoken to me. She just said that. And this is exactly how you find your characters or the script. When the script and the characters, they start talking to you while you're reading it, that is when you know that this is what you want to be part of.
Yeah.
Because you read many scripts and they're written very well. They are good scripts. But you are not having any conversation with the character that director is planning to give it to you. Or you somewhere feel that either you've done it, or you think that I have done it, but I don't have anything new to give it to the script or the character.
Yeah.
That is, those are the scripts that you don't do. But when there are scripts and the characters where you feel that there is ample scope to find new things within yourself as an actor, you just go ahead and do it.
Is that the same approach you followed back in the 60s and 70s also? Because even your characters had so much complexities back then, right from a Satyakam and so many other films. Like.
Yes, I was very fortunate to get those roles, but I was very young at that stage. I was an accidental actress really. I didn't want to be. Ray saw me somewhere, so I didn't take him. He wanted to be an actor, he trained to be an actor, so that was the difference. So I was having a lot of fun those days, and I still acted. Yes, of course, as you said, but I think the time was very different, the audience was very different. We were very simple, the stories were simple, the audience was simple, and all these layers and complexities, it came. I mean, of course, we had wonderful actors. Yusuf Saab was also dealt with that kind of, and we all tried, but I don't think consciously, knowingly one did that. It was at an emotional level, the craft was less, and the feelings were more, if that makes any sense. So I didn't learn the craft. Over the years, we kind of developed a kind of understanding of the script. We didn't even have a script those days. They just narrated a subject to us, and then on the set they would write the dialogues and give. And being a Bengali, it was so difficult for me, because Bengali, there's no gender. So there's this ki, ku, kaka, wo nahi hai. So it was very difficult. And earlier in my time, there was sync sound. Then there was a phase, everything was dubbed, which meant everybody could talk in our line of vision on a cell phone. I'm giving a shot and somebody's talking there,
Right.
So we went through that phase also. So these guys are so lucky, and so, they get these leather-bound script in their hand, and everything is so conducive. Money is in place.
Right.
Everything, we used to work 2 shifts a day.
On multiple films.
On multiple films, over 3 years. So I think we were genius that we could give a performance, consistent performance over here.
Absolutely, that was a different era altogether.
Yeah, so I can't compare myself to Manoj at all. We just grew, and we were very fortunate. We had good directors, and we made films that spoke to the audience then. And they spoke very well. They loved our films, and we loved our audience. And we created so much goodwill that wherever we go in the world, wherever there's an Indian, a taxi driver won't take money. Yes. And
so,
you buy something, they say, nahi, aapke liye to ye free hai, aap le jaiye, So it's such goodwill out there for us. So I feel blessed, really.
When we speak of scripts, when you were writing and working on creating Gulmohar, you had any reference point that you want the world to look in a certain way, or what was your process like to create this?
We, Arpita, my co-writer and I, we were very clear that we wanted this to be an ensemble piece. And it was very organic. We didn't really think that we have to have this character, we have to have this age group, because I'll speak closer to the audience. It came in a very organic way. The starting point, of course, was the matriarch and her son. That was the starting point for us. And we knew that it had to be a portrait of these characters in a house. and slowly that's how the characters developed, and the script came to be.
Okay. So, and after that, each and every actor you wanted to cast, you approached
Yes.
them, and it was the
Thanks to them, really, because everyone, as soon as I told them we have Sharmila Tagore and Manoj Bajpayee, I don't even think they read the script. They were like, yes, we're doing this. Like, there's a lovely actor, Jatin Goswami, who plays a very important part in the film. He plays Chittella. I remember he's flooded with offers now on the OTT shows, but he read the script and he told my casting director that there's this one scene with Sharmila Tagore in the script, I'm doing this film. So I was very fortunate and lucky that it started with them agreeing to be in the film.
And you know, since the film is about family, what does the term family mean to each one of you, and how, like, you know, of course this is a very complex world, but how do you define your bond with people around you, each one?
I don't think something like this can be defined. I think it has to be felt at a feeling level. I think family is very important to me, because I remember when I worked and came back home and when everybody was asleep, I felt, you know, this is not what I want. I mean, I was absolutely sure that beyond a career there is life. I wanted a family, so I married at the right time. I had children at the right time. I gave up lots of films. Just after Aradhana, when I was at the peak, I wanted to have a child, and I did. And I gave up films like Khilone, Karwa, Kati Patang, and so many films went on to become big hits. So these are the things that just comes from inside. There is a need for family. There is at least for me there was, because I grew up in a joint family. To me, family is very important. I will always prioritize family.
And Manoj sir, for you?
For me, it's the strength, you know. When I get out, I do my things. And no matter how difficult a character I'm dealing with, you know, for a month, but there is always a time when you're going off to sleep, waking up early in the morning. You don't miss anything else, but you're missing that part of yourself, which is missing at that point of time. And at that point of time, you feel weak. So I always say that, you know, that's my strength, and that's, I think, everyone's strength. That in your lonely time, the only thing that you are missing is those faces whose smile and being matter to you so much.
And Rahul, for you?
It's togetherness and the comfort. It like she says in the film, you know, it's who do you feel comfortable with is who you make your family, and it's not by blood. It's really by you choosing who you're comfortable with and who you can be so open and embrace. That for me is important.
As actors, you are so many times shooting outdoors, and in such scenarios, it does become. We have read so many instances about how it becomes difficult to maintain a work-life balance because you are outdoors. In such scenarios, how do you balance the things? I mean, profession and work.
Again, it just depends, as Manoj said, that you that's where your strength comes from. So you make time. What keeps you alive, you nurture that. You automatically nurture. Again, these guys are so lucky. In our time, there was connectivity was so poor.
Right.
Like there was not that many flights to Bombay. Now to today, you can shoot here and go back to Delhi at night. So you couldn't do that. And every which way, the telephones, there was no cell phones. So, I mean, look at the convenience you have now. So it was really like, in fact, I was just chatting with Saif, and he's come back from Amritsar and for a day, and he has to go back tomorrow, and he says, oh God, you know, I have to go back, you know, with his children and everything. So I said, there are a lot of sacrifices involved here. So sometimes you want both. I mean, I wanted to have my cake and eat it too. I couldn't bring myself to give up work, but I could not be with my family either. So you make time, and you somehow do. And in a adult life, with adults, adult memory is retentive. So I can make up for 3 months, like you can with your wife, even after 3 months of gap. You can talk on the phone, write to each other. But with children, their memory is not retentive.
Right.
You have to be there when they need you. Otherwise, at that time, if they see a cockroach and somebody says something else to them, that will stay in their mind
Yeah.
and not, if I was there, I would deal with it differently. So it's a huge decision. And today's, again, I've seen my daughter-in-law, I've seen my daughter, how they're managing, because they don't take work till the children are of a certain age, you know. And again, you people are finishing a film
Right.
in 1 year or 6 months.
Yeah.
So then they pause and then, you know,
Move
then
on
they
to
go
another
move
one.
on. So it's easier for working people now.
Yeah.
It wasn't that easy for me.
Yeah.
So I see that, but family, somehow you find time for
Right.
family.
And Manoj, so you also follow the similar pattern? You take gaps between multiple films to make sure that there's this balance, or?
I just go back, and consciously I try to keep a certain number of days between, you know, two films, so that I can be with them. You know, his family doesn't mean that you're constantly talking to them. You know, it's, most of the time it's like you are there. You're there in some room, and you suddenly see your daughter coming to you after 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, though staying in the same apartment, but she is only available to you for that moment, and she comes and says, "Papa, I miss you. I love you," and she goes back. You know, so just being there in this under the same roof for a longer time is enough for the family, and it's enough for you. You feel secure.
Yeah.
You feel happier for that much of time. Not consciously, I personally don't consciously try to be with them. Some, you know, it just happens.
Yeah.
As Sharmila has been telling you, which is so true. You know, in the time of lack of transportation and lack of telecommunication, it was difficult. It was very difficult. I have seen it growing up, but it's easier for people to come back to their family for at least that one night and go back to their to their shoot the next day. It's much more easier, and I have done it. You know, at times, what has happened that, you know, suddenly you start feeling missing your child, and you want to see her, and I used to take the flight back to Bombay and go back the next day. Yeah, so that you can do, that you can afford to do. Not in her time. It was impossible.
Now even video calls.
Yeah, it's
become
video
so
calls
easy
now.
now.
Yeah.
So many ways of communicating.
Yes.
And on that note, it was an absolute honor to speak to all three of you. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best for Gulmohar.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.